Okay,
Live.
we're alive.
Hey
So,
everyone, we're going to wait a second before we really start. If you're watching now, just hang tight. And welcome, of course. Feel free to start posting hellos in the follow-up discussion if you're watching, so we know who's out there.
yep, that would be super good. Please do that. Otherwise, we just feel silly.
Otherwise, we feel like we're talking to ourselves and also to the vast emptiness of space.
Space. Space.
Not that there's anything wrong with space.
No, space is cool. I saw, what's that, Cosmos. I watched Cosmos again.
I need to do that.
I watched the original Cosmos, but that's kind of sad.
These kids won't remember that.
Yeah. Hey,
just kidding.
Not kids.
I know.
All right, so let's get going here, and welcome again to another live broadcast of Music 133. Hopefully, everyone can hear us.
I just realized nobody can see me, so I'm going to say hello because I had a screen share going. So hi.
Hi, Robin.
Carry on.
Professor McClellan, and today we're going to be talking briefly through some of the content of Unit 1, and then we're going to turn it over to you for questions. And if you watch about 10 or 15 minutes into this, I'm going to actually post a link. And if you have a Google Hangout account, you can join us live on the air, ask your questions live. We encourage you, if it's a private question or a question about a specific logistical thing, we may tell you that this is something we want to talk about with you in private. So just keep that in mind. But that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Robin, who is itching to tell you about pitch.
Well, first I'm itching to respond to the 4 people who have said hello already.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And I'm saying hello back to each and every one of you.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. So, all right, not to waste any time here, I would like to jump into Unit 1.
And please ask questions. If you have questions that you want, that occur to you as you're watching this, please go ahead and ask that.
So I'm now screen sharing through the video, so you should be able to see a picture of the course home. It says Music 133. If you're not seeing that, post a question and Dr. Wilcox will respond. So hopefully you're all familiar by now with this screen. I'm not going to spend tons of time on it, but of course you need to read the syllabus. There's a course expectations assignment, which most of you have already done. It is required. And there's the course forum, which you are watching this on, so you know about that. And there's instructor info, and there's a pop-up piano, and there's academic policies, and these are all really important elements. But the task at hand is Unit 1, and here it is. So first of all work is due September 24th. That is coming right up in a little over a week. So one of the issues we see with this course is, people aren't coming to class and you don't have a daily or a weekly reminder of, like, you're in the course, you need to do the work. So we really rely on you to be ahead of the curve, and waiting till Sunday or Monday or Tuesday is risky, to the point of extreme risk to your grade. So be careful. Not to scare you, but also to scare you a little.
I mean, yeah, you don't do the work, you don't do well in the class. I mean, that's pretty normal. But even if you've had a little bit of musical training, we'll still cover things that you haven't had. I mean, I didn't have a good amount of this when I went to school for music. So just keep that in mind and don't underestimate. It's not super difficult, but if you do wait from the last minute, it's going to feel really hard, and it's just not if you kind of pace it out. So a lot of you have gotten off to a great start, and we just encourage you to continue that.
Yeah. And everyone, as we've seen on the meet and greet, which is fantastic, a lot of you have musical background, and as Dr. Wilcox just said, that is a blessing and can be a challenge because you may be overconfident. You may think, I know all this stuff, but there may be little gaps that you don't expect. So give it time. And the other thing I'd say is that this unit is quite long. There's quite a bit of homework compared to some of the other units. So take that into account. This is not the time to dilly-dally, but enough of that kind of stuff. Why don't we jump in? The homework checklist is very useful. As you just saw, hopefully it downloads a PDF or might open in your browser. And this is your easy-peasy way to just make sure you've done everything, because it's easy to feel like you've done a bunch of stuff and miss one or two things. So some of you may not relate to this kind of thing, but if you're at all in doubt, just download that and check them off as you go. Learning goal. This is all
scintillating stuff, really.
I know, really. I'm keeping it super thrilling. Okay, it's going to get more exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be off the hook here.
It is, yeah. I'm just going to jump into the lessons because that's where the really fun stuff is. Now, intro lesson I'm actually not going to cover because it's important stuff, but it's not super vital for your grade.
Yeah, you're only going to be tested. You're only going to be tested on the MythBuster clips. So if you watch the MythBuster clips, you'll be fine.
That's right.
That's not true, actually. But no, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to know basically how sound travels and how what pitch is and what a musical sound is versus a non-musical sound. It's pretty straightforward.
Exactly. So we're walking through the real basics here. The staff, the 5 lines that were invented about 1,000 years ago, the basis for all music notation in the Western world. Pitch and note. I'm just going to try to jump on the highlights. This stuff is important, and the way that you're writing notes, all that kind of stuff. But I want to focus on ledger lines, which can be especially confusing. And there's a little video here. These are all of these great animations created by Dr. Wilcox. I encourage you to watch all of these if you feel like, oh, I know that stuff. There may be little details that jump in there that you weren't quite as solid as you thought. In fact, I guarantee you in the creative projects, if you see right here, it says extra ledger lines. Some of you will do this, I promise. And so read this stuff carefully, internalize it, practice it. It will serve you well. A little bit of history is always fun and sort of drives home the points. And the ear training is important. All of this relates back to sound. I'm trying to move forward without getting too dull, and I think I'm at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, with the staff, you just want to remember that notes that are higher on the staff are going to be higher notes, and notes towards the bottom of the staff are going to be lower notes. That's kind of one thing to watch out for. And you'll also notice that further on in the course I learned how to make stop buttons for the flash animations. So that's a bonus.
One thing I would note about, this is a very general comment, but I think it actually helps with these things. Music theory is difficult to teach because it's kind of, there's a circular quality to it where you need to know one thing in order to understand the next thing, but you need to understand the next thing to know the previous thing. And that's only true to an extent, but you'll notice, especially if you have any musical background, like, oh wait, this is obvious, I already know this, so I'm going to jump forward. And or why aren't they explaining this, because this is a big part of that. The example here is there's no clef. Where's the clef? Well, we're going to get to it, but we're trying to focus on something here. So just kind of bear with that kind of process. All right, moving on quickly. Melodic motion. This is a really important basic aspect of music that you need to know, steps versus leaps, and recognizing them in real examples, real music, and practicing them and internalizing that.
And
okay.
Where will they see more of this? I mean, I feel like this is particularly important later in the course. So What do they
You
have
will
to look
see,
forward to this?
we are going to ask you about this in the creative projects, and also in when it comes to chords, you're going to have to understand intervals and be able to really recognize the distances between pitches.
Yeah, and when you're doing scales, when you make scales, you have
Yes.
the steps and leaps will be part of that.
Yep.
And yeah, the distance between notes, you need to know how to count them. So it's kind of an important early concept that we'll be using a lot later on.
Yeah, this, despite what I said before about the circular nature of the course, it is also very cumulative, and one thing builds on the next in very important ways. Remember, ask us questions as we go along, and we're standing by. So lesson 2, this is the alphabet, and this is really, really, you may have done this when you were a kid. The musical
Well, hopefully
alphabet
you've done
has
an
only
alphabet.
7. Well, no, but the musical alphabet, there is no H except in Germany. It starts over at after G. It starts with A, and it's one of those things that's so simple and yet can be so hard to get used to. So if you're used to it already, great. If it's new to you, don't dismiss it as like, oh my God, that's so obvious. It actually has some sort of tricks to it. And then, of course, just starting to get to know the keyboard is really important. And we like to think of the keyboard as a kind of geographical map of music theory. Everything that you need to know, I'm going to show this little keyboard right here. Everything that you need to know except for rhythm is contained in this magical keyboard. Everything can be mapped there, everything can be shown there, everything can be understood and experienced on the keyboard. So if you're not a pianist in any way, I encourage you to spend time, if you have a piano in your, wherever you live or nearby, or any piano that's accessible, including the pop-up piano, since I'm on the subject, the Play Me piano over here on the left. There's a pop-up version and a full version. This can be your real home for figuring out how all of this really works and how far apart the notes are, what their relationships are, why they're spelled the way they are, why they relate to each other in the ways that they do. The keyboard is your musical map.
Dr. McClellan,
Yes. Oh, you have
are
a
your
question?
headphones in? Are your headphones in?
Yes.
Oh,
Are
okay,
you?
because I was just getting a lot of,
Oh,
I'm
lot
getting a lot of
I'll push them in deeper.
echo.
Might be.
Oh, please do.
Is it any better or worse?
Yeah, that sounds a little better. I'm not getting that echo.
Okay, cool. I'm hearing my own voice inside my head now because these are the kind that seal up my ears. Okay, so the octave could not be a more fundamental aspect of music. Make sure you understand that. It's one of those deceptively simple things. It's the same note, and yet it's not the same note. It's higher or lower. It's very zen.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the concept of happy birthday. Think about you're standing with your mom, assuming your mom can sing in tune, and you're singing happy birthday with your mom. Of course, I'm a boy, so when I sing happy birthday with my mom, clearly I'm singing below my mom. I'm singing lower notes, and
That's right.
she's singing above me. But at the same time, we're singing the same tune at the same time because we're singing in octaves, and we hear that as just one pitch. So that idea of an octave, it's a universal idea. All cultures get it, and it's sort of the way humans' brains are wired. So it's a kind of a strange concept because it's completely intuitive to us, but at the same time we have to find ways to describe it.
Yes. It's one of those weird musical things where we can say there are only 12 notes in all of music, and yet there are 88 notes on the piano. Why is that? Well, it's because of the octave. They repeat. Okay. If anything that we say, you're like, what? What was that? Remember it and ask us about it.
Yep.
Don't let it just pass by.
Yeah, we're good. Question period is coming soon. So.
Yes. All right. I'm going to move right ahead to lesson 3, dividing the octave. The octave is this span of notes, and you can split it up in all sorts of different ways that then lead you into the nitty-gritty of music theory. And the
I'm
first,
really into nitty, but not gritty so much.
so in this
I
course, you
could
have to
take or
deal
leave
with
gritty.
both of them. You have to deal with the nitty, and then you get to have to deal with the gritty. You don't get to choose. Okay, so
Gritty tastes bad.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
So I want to make another very general comment, which is terminology. A lot of what you're doing in this course is not just learning concepts and not just learning sounds and how they fit together. It's learning terminology and frames and ideas that help you manipulate and work with those things. So a simpler way to say that is all of you, every single last one of you has heard music and probably listens to music on a pretty regular basis. And so you already know tons of this stuff. And that's another thing that makes this course a little different than something like, well, I know at least one of you is an astrophysicist.
Ooh.
I know nothing about astrophysics, but all of you know something about music. And what this course is about is not just teaching you something completely new that you've never encountered. It's about putting names and concepts and ideas and notation.
Now we're back to Cosmos, right?
Back to exactly. So the reason I was reminded of this is diatonic pitch collection. That's kind of a thorny little piece of terminology right there, and it's going to take you some getting used to. But it describes something very basic that all of you already know. So this is really sort of about confidence. If you see something thorny and nasty, don't get thrown off. It's probably something that you already can handle. It's just a matter of putting the terminology to it and working with it.
So for all of us, I mean, we are inundated with music all the time. We've grown up with music. Think about it. You are taking a language class, but it's a language class in a language that you've heard your whole life. Mm-hmm. And all you're doing is, it's like, you consider it maybe, I mean, not illiterate in a bad way, but you haven't learned how to read and write the sound and identify what those words and sounds are or mean or how they work. So have confidence. You've heard this. It's in your ears. You know what it's supposed to sound like. You know when it's working or when it's not working. In fact, you have very sophisticated cognition, ability to really focus and learn music. All we're doing is learning to put some terminology with it. So never get scared that you won't be able to learn it, because you've already mastered it. We're just going to take that one step further here.
Could not agree more. I'm going to jump ahead because there's a lot here.
I want to get to some questions.
Yeah, I want to get to some questions. So just very briefly, again, the purpose of this presentation is not to teach you all the material in 20 minutes. It's to give you an overview, walk you through a bit of it. So here we have Richard Nixon, and who is that?
I think it's Pearl Bailey.
Awesome. Okay. Doc Wilcox found all these photos, just to give credit where it's due, and I don't know how he found them or where he came up with them, but they are incredible. And the quotes too.
Yeah, it's kind of, I like.
Okay, clefs. If you have a basic staff of 5 lines, any note could be any pitch. You don't have any way to tell. The clef is, well, if you were a French speaker, I will pause for a moment. Well, we don't really have time to pause. Anybody know what this word? This is actually a French word. What does it mean? Anybody? I won't pause.
Well, see, they're a couple minutes behind us, so they're
okay. All right. Well, it means key, and it's the key to the staff. It tells you, it lets you in on the secret knowledge of the staff. So these are very important. And again,
it's like the Da Vinci Code.
It is, and you can see here that there's some arcane ancient language that Stephen has dug up from some distant past that tells you where the clefs came from. And there's a lot of fun stuff in here, but getting used to how these work is really important, and again, can be deceptively simple, but again, is definitely something you can master.
Yes.
Jumping right ahead to our last lesson, the grand staff. This is woohoo! It's very grand indeed, and it's where all of the it's kind of your home on the page, for, okay, this kind of sums it up, this diagram. Hopefully you can see. It says the grand staff, it shows the entire piano keyboard, has the clefs, and then it shows two lines of music, two staves, treble clef, bass clef, and within this universe is all pitch and, well, all pitches known to humanity, except for the ones way, way higher and way, way lower that we can't really use as music.
Yeah, it's everything we can really hear. Anything beyond it is kind of not audible too much for us.
Unless you're one of those audiophiles.
Old people like us.
Yes, the higher pitches. there used to be an iPhone app called Anoia Teen because it would have. Anyway, this is a total tangent.
No, that's fun. Yeah.
Total higher. It plays a note so high that adults can't hear it, but it drives teenagers nuts because they can still hear it.
Yeah,
I tried this once on a teenager, and it totally worked. It was great. And
Robin likes to do this to small children and pets too. Yeah.
No, that's where I draw the line.
Annoy a cat. So you're willing to torture teenagers, but not children and cats. That's good.
It was only in retaliation for sullenness and bad attitudes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. That makes it acceptable.
Of course. So again, this is sort of an this lesson, unit lesson 5, is sort of an expansion and continuation of the material in the other lessons, and that takes us through to the end. Your creative project is going to be fun and challenging, and it's really kind of a we think kind of unique thing in a beginning theory class to ask you to become composers. We're asking you to work creatively, and I want to emphasize, we said this last week, but I want to emphasize that we're not expecting some sort of masterpiece. Although we get quite a number of cool stuff, but we're expecting you to jump in, engage with it, and just play around. You're playing with music. You're having fun with it. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're grading on. If you're nervous, if you're uncertain, contact us, but don't be nervous. You're going to be fine. And I think we should maybe, anything else to add, Dr. Wilcox? Should we jump to questions?
Why don't we jump to questions and people can start typing, and I'm gonna stick that link into Piazza, and people can jump on, and hopefully that will work out. People should let us know if it's not working. You'll need a Google Plus account. And if you have headphones, it would be super if you put them in so we don't get a lot of feedback. And if you are going to join us live, turn off the feed coming out of Piazza. Just stop the video because it'll create a kind of a loop. So, but hopefully some of you are out there and want to ask some questions. So here I go. I'm going to post it now.
I'm going to leave my screen up for the moment in case people want to ask about something specific in a particular page. I can navigate over there and we can point at certain things and whatnot. Any question goes. Anything that you are unsure about, wondered about, you name it.
Yep, let us have it. That'd be hilarious. I think there's like 7 people watching, so and that includes the 2 of us, so that's good. And my mom, of course.
That's a crowd.
Whenever I'm on TV.
7's a crowd.
7's a great crowd.
Yes. I'm trying to think of other entertaining things to say in the meantime.
Why don't you go ahead and turn your screen share off?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can jump back on if people have questions. Yeah. Hi again.
Ah, super. There we go. Yeah. So why don't we give it till like 5 after 7 or?
Yeah.
Okay, here we got one from Kimyetta. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Kimyetta Robinson, what exactly do we have to do for the creative project, and how long does it have to be?
Good question. Great last name, by the way. That's my first name. So actually, I'm going to jump back to my screen share.
Oh, okay.
Just because I already have it open, so might as well make it vivid. So this is your creative project. First of all, there's a space limitation. So generally, your melody should fill up this space, this one staff. And I have to confess, I need to reread the guidelines to make sure I know the exact numbers of
20,
notes and so on.
20 to 30 notes.
Thank you. Thank you. We have our solid knowledge here.
Yeah, but it can be longer if you need more. But
yeah, this is if needed, we stick to these strictly. But in truth, if somebody has an inspiration and wants to make it longer, that's totally fine. If you come up with 19 amazing notes, we're not going to dock you points.
Yeah.
The point is that it should not be like 5 notes. It should be a significant melody. And sorry, let me check your question. How long does it have to be? So what exactly do you have to do? Well, three. There are 3 elements. The staff. You need to write out the melody on the staff, and you need to drag in all the elements one by one to actually place them on the staff and make it look all correct. That's a place where you might get some stray ledger lines. Then you need to perform and make the melody into real live sound and send us a recording.
Yeah, and the staff you have to do a screenshot of.
Yes, thank you. Yes, screenshot is a good basic skill if you haven't done one before. You'll find it useful in many ways. And then finally, and as important as everything else, analyze your composition. So this is really important because we need to know not just that you did it and what it is, we need to know how you're thinking about it. And we get wonderful, this is actually one of my favorite parts because we get wonderful answers from people. We get stories and narratives like, this is a story about my dog Fifi and how Fifi caught a squirrel one day. And we get this whole story packed into a few notes.
It's kind of gruesome, Robin.
Well, the squirrel escaped and it was fine.
Oh, okay. I see.
In that particular case.
Yeah.
But
and when is this due?
Oh, it's due at the same time as the rest of the unit. So this is a time management issue.
Ooh.
You need to. Yes, good question. This is something where you need to plan your time yourself because you can't just like leave it all right up to the end.
Especially for Unit 2. Watch Unit 2.
Well, Unit 2 is going to be is a big undertaking. So, as we mentioned last time, it took them a lot longer to figure out how to write down rhythm in history than they did pitch. So, makes sense. Did I answer, Kim Yetta? Did I answer your question? Let me know if you have a follow-up.
You got Megan's question too there. So
it's due the 24th. And that's a week from Wednesday, and it's due at the same time as all of the other materials. So just watch that kind of stuff carefully.
And there'll be a Dropbox, so you can just submit it all into a Dropbox.
Yep.
And we'll listen to that.
One thing I would add about the creative project is to watch your file formats and your file naming really carefully.
Yeah.
Just for our sake and for your sake, sometimes we get files that don't have your name correctly listed or aren't in the right file format, and that's really vital. And we get a lot of these coming in, so we need to have that.
And we've made some good suggestions on platforms to use to do your recording. So just follow the suggestions. And I've done a lot of research on that particular topic, so my suggestions I actually am pretty proud of those. They're good, solid suggestions.
Doc Wilcox has a knack for going out and finding really cool technology and things that people don't know about widely that are really useful and really clever. And that
I'm very knacky.
Very knacky, and brings them right into this course. So we are all very lucky. I've actually found some cool stuff that I then went on to use for my own composing and so on. So this could happen to you too.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, trying to think of other things. Other questions?
I think we've hit a limit. We'll give it, a few more minutes because there are a delay from. I think they're about 2 minutes behind us from what they hear. But let's wrap it up with a reminder that exams, exam for Unit 1, all the assessments for Unit 1, and the first creative project are all due on Wednesday the 24th. Oh, did we get someone coming in here?
Maybe so.
I see another icon.
Yes, I do too. Can you hear us?
Dee, are you there? Oh. Just make sure your microphone's turned on. Well, I see a picture of a student.
I see a panda.
I see a panda.
That is very cool.
It's attacking a girl. No, wait. The girl's attacking a panda.
Panda doesn't look too perturbed.
No, it's a statue. Okay, she's chatted that yes, she's there.
Cool.
If you turn on your camera and microphone, if you want to, up at the top in the middle, you'll see a mute microphone, mute camera, so you can turn those on if you have them. Or you can chat your question in there. Sounds like she's dropping the panda now, unless that was Robin.
It might have been.
It might have been.
I hear a voice. Can you hear us talking? I hear wind chimes.
That's me. Sorry. Well, we had someone there for a second.
Oh, and we have another question from Megan. When you play the creative projects, is it piano? Can it play it on as another instrument? That is a fantastic question. It's really up to you, as long as it's something that you feel comfortable on and that you can feel like you do a great job on. So we get some people who play a regular piano. They have one in their dorm or their house, whatever. Some people use the pop-up piano in the browser. That can be a little tricky, like sometimes with the rhythm, to get the timing just right. But if that happens to you, we understand and we won't hold you to this precise rhythm. We also get people, if you play any instrument or if you're a singer or anything like that.
We've got a really great whistle. Somebody did a really great whistle one, so
we've had guitarists.
We quite enjoyed that.
We've had clarinetists. What else? We've had a lot of.
Was it spoons? Was that one with the spoons for the rhythm?
I don't remember that one, but
rhythm project with
cool.
Spoons.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just going to answer this in writing as well, so it's on the record. But yep, there we go.
Well, it is really nice to have Dee with us, but not hearing Dee or seeing a question type. But still, it's really great to have someone join us. It would be nice just to hear her, just to make sure we know it works and everything. But
yeah, as we go forward, if you're interested in joining us on the call itself, I have to confess I was a little confused how this works at first. I didn't realize that in Piazza you can't actually jump on the call. You have to be separate out in your Gmail and then be added as a call there, and then you'll be on the call. So if you're interested in talking to us in real time, we would absolutely love that. And all you need to do is contact Doc Wilcox ahead of time, and that way we can make sure it's working. Because as you can see, sometimes it takes a few minutes to kind of get it rolling.
Yeah.
So, but thank you, Dee, for joining us.
Yes, we do appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, why don't we wrap up? Do we have any final thoughts, final things to keep in mind?
I think we've said all of the wise and witty things that we can possibly say.
Yeah, we've probably said a couple other things too. Less wise, less witty, more greedy.
But all excellent.
Excellent. We are.
And we've demonstrated our musical nerdiness, which is always
we are nerds. Goal. We are clearly nerds. I don't know. You can see me. I'm clearly a nerd. I've got glasses on, right?
Oh yeah, I should switch back so you can confirm my nerdiness.
Yeah, you are. This is a great way to end, confirming nerdiness. Yes. Robin is a nerd. I'm a nerd. We're nerds. Nerds for music.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, so.
Wait. I think we're getting another one. If I'm a singer, Can the creative project be the instrument and the recording be separate lyrics I wrote and sung over the piano? Absolutely. Sure
Yep.
thing. In fact, you can include some of the lyrics in your analysis if you want to, but not required. And if you're a singer and you're going to play an instrument along with yourself, you do not need to notate the keyboard part if you don't want to. Just write just the melody of the just what you're singing is fine. You don't have to notate the entire composition. But that's a great question, Megan.
Yes. A lot of good questions.
So.
All right. Well, this is fun, and we'll do more of these, so tell your friends.
Yeah, and if you find it useful or interesting or annoying or whatever, just let us know, because we can tailor these a little better to what people actually want to know about.
Yep. I agree. So we will see you next time.
Yep, signing off here.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks again, Dee.
Yep. Thank you all.